Hi everybody, this is Frank DiMora, and again, welcome to the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth. This is where I'm going to connect the dots between Bible prophecy and current events, and today is October 14th, 2010. If you want to get all the information that's enclosed in this documentary on Bible prophecy and current events, go to my website, www.DiMoraMinistry.com, and this is how you spell DiMora. And when you get to my website, you'll see the front and the back covers of the book. Below it, there's a link. Hit the link and you can download this book today for free. And it is very powerful. It shows exactly what Jesus Christ wanted to show us and told us, warned us about the last days. And today I'm going to get into some prophecies concerning the decline of America. Now, if you're new to my site, because a lot of people are telling their friends and their families about what I'm doing, and my viewership is increasing, so that's a blessing. But if you are new to my site, after you see the video, you can scroll down and you can see the news articles that I'm talking about, and below that there's a link, so that you click on the link and you'll be able to read the entire report or watch the video that the report encompasses within that report. But today I'm going to talk about Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel chapter 7. Now in those two chapters, and in my book, I'll show you in chapter 2 what we're talking about, the revived Roman Empire, the last world empire that's going to be around when the Antichrist comes. And so in order for this last revived Roman Empire to show up, there has to be something that's going to take place that's going to downgrade the most powerful nations in the world. Now, right now, supposedly, or at least they used to be, the United States used to be the most powerful in the world, but in the last couple of years, they've been declining very, very fast. And the decline, I believe, when America's dollar collapses and their economy finally folds because the debt has crushed them, that there's going to be major chaos throughout the world, and then the world is going to be calling for a new leader to bring back or restore control worldwide. And this will be the first time in history where one man will rule, make a domination of the entire world. Jesus points it out in Revelation, in his book of Revelation, and we see it also in Daniel chapter 2 and Daniel 7, where the Antichrist is controlling, or at least attempting to conquer the world. And so it's really important to understand this information. Now, I'm going to show you some of the events that I believe are leading up to this crash. And I've been warning people to please pass this information on, because you need to understand what is happening, especially if you don't know Jesus Christ. You're going to want to know why these things had happened. The Washington Times, or Washington Information, the AP, the Associated Press, came out with an article today. It says, more people applied for unemployment benefits last week. The first rise in 3 weeks, and the evidence that the companies are reluctant to hire in the slow economy. Initial claims for unemployment aid rose by 13,000 to a seasonally adjusted 462,000, the Labor Department said Thursday. It is only the second rise in 2 months. So we're seeing almost 500,000 people again going into the unemployment lines. Now, if you go back into my posts, which are all up, I must have close to 400 posts now, you're going to see my warnings all the way back for 3 years. And as a matter of fact, in my live presentations, the people who have seen my live presentations going all the way back to 1977, I showed them what was going to happen to the United States back in 1977. And it's happening right now. And it becomes really important because now the birth pangs that we see from Jesus in Mark 13:8, that these birth pangs are getting much more stronger. And I believe that the collapse of America is headed towards our way, and these are just signs of it. Now, when you scroll down into my report, you'll also see that the headlines, September home foreclosures top 100,000 for the first time. It says the number of homes taken over by the banks topped $100,000 for the first time in September, though foreclosures are expected to slow in the coming months as lenders work through questionable paperwork, real estate data company Realtech said on Thursday. So we're seeing massive layoffs. We're seeing people, because they got laid off, they can't afford their homes. And we're seeing massive exodus of homes, or people leaving their homes. Now, once this happens, you get the tax base that disappears. And because the tax base is disappearing, America is losing money to keep the economy going, and you got a vicious cycle. It's like a huge mountain, and somebody rolled a little snowball, and it's going down this mountain, and it can't be stopped, and it's getting bigger, more massive, more debt, and uncontrollable until it crashes at the end. And this is the road America is on. Pay attention to the signs, because the people who believe that there won't be a depression, you're going to get really shocked when you see that the United States will enter into another depression. And they're already talking about the coming depression. They used to be afraid to talk about a recession, but now they're starting to talk about a possible depression that's coming. And if you know the trends of what's taking place, you can actually see this happening. Now, another major sign, again, and I'm going to read this for you, but again, you can scroll down if you're new and read it. It says the U.S. claims for jobless benefits rose last week, hardening the view. The central bank will pump up more money into the economy and keeping pressure on Democrats poised to lose congressional seats in November 2nd polls. At the same time, record high imports from China helped push the U.S. trade deficit wider in August. Now keep this in mind, while rising food and energy prices, and I'm going to get to this in a minute. I'm going to continue on with the quote. Published inflation at the wholesale level up twice as fast as expected last month. Now, in many of my posts, I point to you Revelation chapter 6:6, where Jesus tells us that during the tribulation period, people are going to be working all day long for a very, very small amount of food. And then it talks about wheat and barley, and the wheat and barley prices are going up like crazy. But the reason why I put this quote in here is a twofold, because we're seeing the jobs disappearing. And this article also talks about the trade deficit, which is another indication America is collapsing. And why it's collapsing, the dollar is shrinking, and because it's shrinking, cost of food is going up. And so you connect Revelation 6:6 with everything else that's happening, you can see the path that the world is on. Not just the United States, because when the United States goes, the ripple effect is going to go all over the world, and it's going to tear down most of the economies throughout the world, and then cause that chaos. You'll see massive riots like we're already seeing in Europe and France and in other places, in the UK and other places. These are the very things that Jesus told us to watch for. Then there's also an article out of Tokyo. It says the dollar fell to the fresh 15-year low against the yen in Tokyo on Thursday amid growing speculation that the U.S. Federal Reserve will ease monetary policy next month. The U.S. currency was quoted at 81.7 yen briefly in late Thursday's trade in Tokyo, and was trading around 81.10 yen around 7 p.m. or 7:30 p.m. So here is a case where I warned you to watch the dollar, because it's going to shrink. It's going to devalue, and this is what we're seeing. The dollar is going down. It's going to bite the dust, and it's sad to say, but this is going to be reality. Now, when you go down, I'm going to continue on with some of the declines of America.